Get that war settled. It's a bad war. And Putin, has so little respect for Obama that he's starting to throw around the nuclear word today. You heard that, nuclear. He's starting to talk nuclear weapons today.
I have much more from where that came from to play for you. That was, of course, Donald Trump stunning the crowd into silence with his own confusion. They're cheering and vibing with what he's saying. And then he once again randomly confuses Obama with Biden, and they go silent. Absolutely no evidence, I should note, that he was telling a joke, as he tries to claim when answering for those sorts of mix-ups. But he delivered 2 speeches yesterday, and there were so many cognitive episodes across the 2. It's getting really bad. He was noticeably confused throughout most of the speeches, struggled to properly articulate his thoughts, and I have all of it for you in this segment. Before moving on to more, here's that moment once again.
Putin, has so little respect for Obama that he's starting to throw around the nuclear word today. You heard.
Yeah, he's not telling a joke. I want to play it for you again to just really remind you of that. And he's not doing it on purpose, again, as he tries to claim. Obama lives apparently so rent-free in his head, he just is tormented by him, so he can't stop calling Biden Obama. Because why would Putin throw around the word nuclear? Because he has no respect for a retired former president. It doesn't make any sense. And that's why the crowd reacted by quickly going quiet in confusion. Then before playing the next clip, make sure you click the like button and the alert bell. Super helpful, thank you so much. And here's a reminder of a previous time he did the same thing.
As you know, crooked Joe Biden and the radical left thugs who have weaponized law enforcement to arrest their leading political opponent. They're leading by a lot, including Obama. I'll tell you what, you take a look at Obama and take a look at some of the things that he's done. This is the same thing. The country was very divided. And we did with Obama. We won an election that everyone said couldn't be won. We beat Hillary Clinton. Now,
Yikes. And then here, again, everything we're going to go through is just 2 speeches yesterday. That's it. Not over the course of weeks, 2 speeches. Here's him saying the United stage.
Production in the United States, just as the price.
The United stage, indeed. Here he calls a poll a bill.
And in the Harvard-Harris bill also just came out, we're leading Crooked Joe by 6 points, which means...
I think he also said Cricket Joe. Whatever that means. Biden the cricket. Here, Ron Filipkowski put together what he described as a montage of 32 clips from Trump's 2 speeches yesterday, just 2 speeches, where he mispronounced words, got confused, mixed up names, forgot names, and babbled insane nonsense. And it's 2 minutes and 48 seconds of these clips. I won't play all that for you, just the beginning. Take a look.
That is no longer admired, respected, or listened to. Will repeat your...
That one he just gives up on.
Anytime I start talking, they take the red light off. Look, he can't campaign. He can't campaign. He can't speak. So we call it migrant crime. I came up with that
migrant crime
name because I come up with a lot of good names. You see Maduro, Venezuela. It's unbelievable. Is going to the
Venezuela. And that gets to one of the things that's so strange about Trump's verbal mishaps is he won't just do the normal thing where you sort of admit you made a mistake. Venezuela, right? That's how a normal person would do it. Instead, he has to push through. Venezuela, unbelievable. They call it Venezuela, or they call it Venezuela, and just sort of like charges through until he gets to the correct one. Or he'll give up on it altogether, as you previously heard. Just leave it there. Suffering as a butchered word. And that we've seen time and time again. He even admitted at a rally, as we covered, I don't like correcting myself because then it's me admitting I made a mistake, and I don't like admitting I make mistakes. Well, there it is. And this many mishaps, even though people make mistakes for sure, there's 2 points here. First of all, this many, notable by itself, concerning. And we talked about in a previous segment, Dr. John Gartner coming out and saying, Biden's showing signs of just normal aging that doesn't affect his ability to govern effectively. Trump is showing signs of concerning dementia-esque stuff. And so that's a big notable part of this. The type of mishaps he's having and how he's dealing with them is different and shows a different, more concerning element, at least according to Dr. John Gartner, who appeared on the David Pakman show. But the second point is Trump and MAGA likes to take little mistakes that Biden makes and then push that as proof of Biden. He doesn't know where he is. He's falling apart. And then they ignore Trump's brutal, repetitive mishaps and cognitive glitches. Now, on that, something Trump has started to do at these rallies constantly is spend a bunch of time insisting, I'm really cognitively there. I promise I'm cognitively there. I'll tell you if that ever changes. And that's something that no one has ever done when they are cognitively there. You don't spend a bunch of time saying, I promise I'm sharp as a tack. A very stable genius, as Trump once said. And then he spent his time in his speeches. Well, before getting to the next point here, he also takes time talking about this test he took. It was so difficult, and it's that dementia screening test. Yikes. But then he also likes to go back and say, hey, these past things that people have covered in terms of these mistakes, those were on purpose. He did it, as I mentioned, with the Obama-Biden mix-up, saying that he does it on purpose, I guess, to point out that Obama's calling the shots. But then when you watch it, obviously he all discombobulated. It's not on purpose. Then he's doing the same thing now with his now notorious Nikki Haley, Nancy Pelosi mix-up. And here was him at this rally saying that was on purpose too.
Yes, I have to be very, very careful. We have many of them. I purposely mix up like a name like Birdbrain. You know who Birdbrain is, right, Nikki? With Nancy Pelosi. I put them in because they're interchangeable in my mind.
So now he takes time out of his speeches to say, oh yeah, that time weeks ago that I was saying Nikki Haley over and over again and blaming her for January 6th and saying she was in charge of security. I was just making this point about how Nikki Haley is the same as Nancy Pelosi, but really I was meaning Nancy Pelosi. And I did the same thing with Obama. I wasn't just mixing it up, and that's why you saw a bunch of confusion on my face. No. What really happened was I was making this high-minded point about how Obama was calling the shots. Now, here's the moment he's referencing.
By the way, they never report the crowd on January 6th. You know, Nikki Haley, you know, did you know they destroyed all of the information, all of the evidence, everything, deleted and destroyed all of it, because of lots of things. Like Nikki Haley is in charge of security. We offered her 10,000 people, soldiers, National Guard, so whatever they want. They turned it down. They don't want to talk about that. It
wasn't on purpose. It just wasn't, obviously. And so just to be a normal person and admit you make mistakes, and maybe don't be so hypocritical about criticizing Joe Biden. Often now he'll be saying Biden can't get through a sentence while he can't get through that very sentence. Pretty dang ironic. And I think the confusion is just flying off of him so powerfully that it's impacting other speakers at these sorts of events. Because here, Republican Congresswoman Virginia Fox had this moment.
Let me make something crystal clear. I have President Trump's back because he has my back. I'm with President Trump because he has your back.
Let me make something crystal clear. I have President Trump's back because he had my back. I'm with President Trump because he has your back. Nice. Now, of course, she's trying to say what was written for her, I think, was I don't have President Trump's back because he has my back. I have his back because he has your back, right? But again, we all make mistakes, but maybe pointing out their mistakes will help them to be more reasonable in their responses to other people's mistakes, notably Joe Biden's. Then here's Trump saying this.
I know a lot of people. We like a lot of people. I happen to have a very good relationship with a woman called Melania.
Yes. Said no one ever with a good relationship with their wife. Here Trump says something that's just stunningly untrue.
Indicted me. You could never indict him on the document hoax. I come under the Presidential Records Act. I'm allowed to do all of that. I'm allowed to do whatever I want. New York Times did a story.
Yes, if you go read the law, specifically the Presidential Records Act, it's going to say you can do whatever you want. A former president can do whatever they want with classified material as written in the Presidential Records Act. It doesn't say that. It actually says quite the opposite. Then a really sad element of these sorts of rallies are the individuals outside, this time a child who said this.
Yes, sir.
Let's put Fanny and Nikki in jail.
Okay. There we go. Maybe he can make that happen.
Why on earth did the reporter respond, maybe he can do that? You're just celebrating the potential authoritarian nightmare that Trump would be. Locking up Fani Willis and Nikki Haley. For what? Because he doesn't like them. What crime did they commit? Other than Nikki Haley running against Trump and Fani Willis prosecuting him. My goodness. This is just completely unrelated, but I want to stick it in this segment. Kristen Welker on Meet the Press said this.
Mr. Trump's claim that he's immune from criminal prosecution for allegedly trying to overturn the 2020 election.
What is alleged about Trump trying to overturn the election? What? Now, it's allegedly illegal what he did, right? That hasn't been proven in a court of law, so that makes sense. And I know there's this habit when covering things that relate to criminal prosecution to say alleged, but that pertains to the potential illegality. And that's fair to say, allegedly illegal attempt to overturn the 2020 election result. But she just said allegedly tried to overturn the 2020 election. Trump doesn't even dispute he tried to overturn the 2020 election. There's nothing alleged about that. He tried to overturn the election. It seems like even in these tiny ways, and that is small, often these sorts of subjects are sanitized and made a lot softer and sugar-coated. Please, that's how we lose our democracy. And this is just one moment, but a part of a broader picture with Kristen Welker we've been talking about lately on Meet the Press. We just can't do this. I'm trying so much to prove that I'm right in the middle and be fact-based, be objective. That doesn't always place you right smack dab in the middle of everyone's ideas. Just cover things, again, in a fact-based way that serves our democracy. My goodness. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. And if you want to get a daily bonus show, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership.